Imagine a world where fortunes vanish overnight, where empires built on numbers and lies crumble in the spotlight. Welcome to the shadowy underbelly of global finance, a realm where greed wears a suit and deception hides behind balance sheets. From London's 18th century trading halls to Wall Street's gleaming towers, the greatest financial scandals have rewritten economies and ruined reputations. Each one left scars that changed laws, markets, and lives forever. Stay tuned, like, and subscribe as we uncover how ambition, arrogance, and fraud have shaped the world's financial history, one scandal at a time. Before we dive into the chaos, let's set the stage. Money has always promised power, but throughout history, that promise often turned poisonous. When unchecked ambition meets opportunity, corruption follows. From early stock market bubbles to modern digital manipulations, financial scandals reflect both human brilliance and its darkest flaws. In this documentary, we'll revisit the infamous South Sea Bubble, the Great Depression's frauds, the Enron collapse, Bernie Madoff's deceit, and the 2008 financial meltdown, all stitched together by one timeless thread, the illusion of endless profit. Our story begins in 1720, with the South Sea Bubble, the first modern financial catastrophe. The South Sea Company promised to erase Britain's national debt through overseas trade. Instead, it became a speculative frenzy. Investors sold their homes, pawning futures for promises of gold. When the company's lies surfaced, the market imploded, wiping out fortunes and faith in financial institutions. The scandal reached even the highest ranks of British nobility, proving that greed and illusion can corrupt entire nations when speculation overtakes reason. Across the Atlantic, America faced its own nightmare with the Panic of 1873, sparked by railroad overexpansion and speculative finance. The collapse of J. Cook and Company, a powerful bank financing railroads, triggered global shockwaves. Thousands lost jobs and savings, ushering in what historians call the Long Depression. It was one of the first signs that financial powerhouses could drag entire economies down, revealing how interconnected and fragile modern capitalism had become. The panic would shape banking regulations for decades, but its pain echoed for generations. Then came the 1929 Wall Street crash, the most infamous implosion in modern history. Fueled by reckless margin trading and blind optimism, ordinary Americans poured savings into inflated stocks. When reality struck, the bubble burst. Billion-dollar fortunes disappeared overnight. Bankers leapt from skyscrapers, and families lined bread queues. The Great Depression that followed wasn't just economic, it was moral. It exposed how unchecked speculation could shatter societies. The U.S. responded with the Glass-Steagall Act, trying to separate greed from governance, but the lesson wouldn't last. The 1970s Lockheed bribery scandal brought corruption to the political stage. Lockheed, a major American aerospace company, paid millions in bribes to foreign officials to secure aircraft contracts. The fallout implicated politicians from Japan to Italy, leading to resignations and arrests. It forced the United States to pass the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, setting a global precedent against corporate bribery. Yet, it also showed that as companies grew richer and more global, their influence could subvert governments themselves, a pattern that continues even today. The 1980s savings and loan crisis became another defining chapter. Deregulation allowed U.S. savings institutions to invest recklessly, leading to widespread fraud. Over 1,000 banks failed, costing taxpayers $160 billion. Behind polished smiles and perfect suits, executives gambled with public trust, showing how financial freedom without accountability can destroy entire systems. The scandal reshaped American finance, birthing tougher oversight, yet ironically, it also planted the seeds of future deregulations that would lead to even bigger disasters. Then came Barings Bank, the oldest merchant bank in Britain, destroyed by one man in 1995. Nick Leeson, a rogue trader in Singapore, concealed massive losses through fraudulent accounts. By the time London discovered it, $1.3 billion was gone, and so was Barings. The collapse stunned the world, proving that even centuries-old institutions could fall to a single unchecked employee. Barings' downfall revealed the dangerous blend of technology, secrecy, and ego that defines modern finance. In the late 1990s, the Asian financial crisis struck like lightning. Triggered by speculative investment and currency manipulation, Countries like Thailand, Indonesia, and South Korea saw economies collapse almost overnight. Western investors fled, IMF loans arrived with harsh conditions, and millions sank into poverty. The crisis wasn't just about markets, it was about power. It exposed how global finance could lift nations and destroy them, depending on whose hands controlled the flow of capital. The dawn of the 21st century brought perhaps the most notorious case of corporate fraud, Enron. Once hailed as America's most innovative company, Enron hid billions in debt through complex accounting tricks. When the truth emerged in 2001, the firm collapsed, wiping out pensions and destroying lives. CEO Jeffrey Skilling and Chairman Ken Lay became symbols of greed. Their downfall reshaped corporate governance, birthing the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Enron proved that even in the digital age, lies wrapped in numbers can burn brighter and deadlier than ever before. Around the same time, WorldCom, another American telecom giant, was caught inflating profits by over $11 billion. Like Enron, it fooled Wall Street analysts and shareholders. When it crashed, it became one of the largest bankruptcies in U.S. history. The scandal deepened the public's distrust in corporate America. It also reinforced the dangerous truth: financial deceit isn't about bad math, it's about the moral decay behind the numbers. Then came the name that defined deception: Bernie Madoff. Running the world's largest Ponzi scheme, Madoff promised steady returns, fooling even billionaires and charities. His empire, built on lies, unraveled in 2008, revealing $65 billion in fake wealth. His victims ranged from Hollywood stars to pensioners. Madoff's fraud exposed the blind faith people place in prestige and reputation. He wasn't just a criminal, he was a mirror reflecting society's obsession with effortless wealth. The 2008 global financial crisis was the crescendo of a century of greed. Rooted in subprime mortgages and risky derivatives, it brought Wall Street to its knees. Lehman Brothers collapsed, markets crashed, and governments rushed to bail out banks. The world entered a deep recession. Behind the jargon and numbers lay millions of lost homes, jobs, and dreams. Once again, humanity paid the price for its arrogance, believing markets could self-correct even as they devoured themselves. Post-2008, scandals evolved, from Libor rate rigging to Wells Fargo's fake accounts. These weren't isolated incidents, they were symptoms of systemic rot. Banks manipulated global interest rates, affecting everything from mortgages to student loans. Executives faced fines, but rarely prison. The message was clear: in modern capitalism, the higher you climb, the softer your fall. Greed had become institutionalized, hidden behind compliance jargon and digital layers of complexity. Even cryptocurrency, born as a rebellion against corruption, found its scandals. The collapse of FTX and the downfall of Sam Bankman-Fried in 2022 echoed the old patterns: innovation corrupted by hubris. Billions vanished from digital wallets, investors deceived by charm and illusion. The scandal proved that no matter the technology, human greed remains constant, only its tools evolve. From the South Sea bubble to FTX, one truth remains eternal: money amplifies human nature. It rewards creation but tempts corruption. Every scandal teaches the same lesson: the system isn't broken by machines or markets, but by men who believe they're untouchable. History punishes arrogance, often in spectacular fashion. Financial scandals are more than crimes, they are moral parables. They remind us that trust, not gold, not stocks, is the real foundation of economies. When that trust erodes, the entire structure collapses, no matter how grand. Each scandal, in its time, became a warning that too few heeded. Yet, even after centuries of collapse, greed endures. It hides behind new technologies, new markets, and new promises. But history's memory is long. Every generation must ask, how much truth are we willing to trade for profit? Because every era's wealth is only as honest as the people who manage it. The future will bring new markets, currencies, and innovations. But unless humanity confronts its lust for unchecked gain, we'll continue repeating the same tragedies, only faster and on grander scales. Financial history, in essence, is human history. And human nature, it seems, rarely changes. As we close this journey through centuries of deception and downfall, remember, every number tells a story, every scandal leaves a scar. If you found this exploration eye-opening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Because understanding the past isn't just about history, it's the only way to stop the next collapse before it begins.